witch hunt. It's a disgrace. We have a corrupt attorney general in this state. You see how she does? This trial was railroaded and fast-tracked. This trial could have been brought years ago, but they waited till I was right in the middle of my campaign. The same with other trials and indictments. It's all run by DOJ, which is corrupt in Washington.
Well, let's get the legal take on all of this with constitutional law expert Bruce DelValle. He joins me from Washington, D.C. Hi there, Bruce. Always good to speak to you. So the start of this trial, does it have any impact on the other cases that Donald Trump is facing?
Well, directly, no. That's a very good question. Directly, no. The impact is not direct. But what it does tend to show is that the effort to bring Trump to justice may not necessarily be a witch hunt. This judge has already found that the Trump companies have been operated in a manner that, according to New York corporate law, is unlawful. And so this is a civil case. This is not a criminal case. And so the required proofs in a civil case are much higher, much lower rather, than in a civil case and then in a criminal case. So it won't have very much evidentiary value, but it may have some value based upon whether or not former President Trump operates his companies in a lawful manner. We're not really seeing that as a feature in the criminal trials, but it certainly is not going to help his reputation and his ability to combat these cases and continually call them witch hunts.
Yeah, that is something that he has said throughout all of the cases against him. If I understand correctly, Bruce, the verdict in this particular case isn't decided by a jury. It is a civil case. So the judge has the ultimate say. If the judge, who Trump has already called a rogue judge, finds him and his sons did commit fraud, what are the repercussions here for Donald Trump and his family?
Well, he's pretty much already found that. In civil cases in the United States, we also get juries. They're smaller juries, they're smaller in size. However, this is a bench trial, a trial from the bench where the judge gets to decide. Once again, it's a civil case brought by the New York Attorney General, and it seeks $250 million in damages, monetary damages, for the conduct of the Trump companies, whereby they are alleged to, well, actually, they were found, liability has already been found. In civil cases, there's two parts. There's the liability, whether or not the wrong was done, and then there's the damages aspect. This hearing is on the damages aspect. The judge has already found that the Trump corporations, Donald Trump and his sons and the other executives are liable, that they have done the wrongful acts that they're alleged to have done. So this basically is a hearing or a trial on damages alone. So there has already been a finding that the rules and laws and the administrative codes of New York have been violated. So this is a very substantial matter in terms of whether or not President Trump can continue to operate his companies, because the damages can be that the companies are shut down and they can't operate for 5 years. They go into what's called receivership, where someone external runs the companies. They can be liquidated. There are a lot of things at play here, and all of them are very seriously detrimental to former President Trump's financial situation.
Yeah, I mean, $256 million is a massive amount of money. It really could cut off his financial sources, especially going into an election next year where he is likely, it seems at this stage, to be the Republican candidate. Trump has said this trial is political interference, it's election interference, and if he wasn't running, he wouldn't be charged. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm not so sure. Once you come on the radar of a state or federal, but in this case, a state's attorney general, they look at you very closely. And that close scrutiny, they look at, in this case, how you did business, how President Trump did business. Now, a lot of business people, especially in the real estate and the hospitality industry, as President Trump's primary industries, they cut corners a bit. They inflate their values for the purpose of getting loans. They decrease their values for the purposes of taxation and penalties and fines and other administrative costs. But if you do it if a company does it on a wholesale level where it rises to the defrauding of the state, then once you're on that radar, they're going to look at you very closely. So I'm not really certain that had he not been running, this action would not have been brought. That's hard to say. There's no real answer to that question, but it looks as though they found what they were looking for, and the judge has already entered an order finding liability.
It's going to be very interesting to see how this case plays out and the ramification. Bruce DelValle, always good to get your analysis. Thank you so much for explaining that so well to us.